ladies and gentlemen, media. Following weeks of intense, high-level negotiations between the Partnership for National Unity and the Alliance for Change, the two parties have arrived at an accord entitled the Cummingsburg Accord, which has been signed by both parties today, February the 14th, 2015. This accord is in respect of their participation in the May 11, 2015 general and regional elections in the interest of Guyana, and responding to the overwhelming encouragement of both parties' membership, supporters, and the general public at large. The parties have agreed on the following. Both parties will contest the elections on a single list of candidates. Partnership for National Unity will nominate the presidential candidate, and the Alliance for Change will nominate the prime ministerial candidate. The Alliance for Change is assured of 12 seats in the National Assembly. In the construct of a new government, a Partnership for National Unity will be allocated one vice president, and the Alliance for Change 2 vice presidents, both of whom will be members of the cabinet. In reflecting the thinking and commitment to and for future constitutional reform, it has been agreed that the responsibilities will be organized along the following lines. First, the presidency. The president, as head of state, head of government, commander-in-chief of the armed forces, shall have responsibility for the appointment of constitutional agencies and commissions with required and agreed democratic mechanisms of consultation. Foreign affairs, international relations, and international non-commercial treaties. National security policy, the Defense Board, the Joint Intelligence Committee, the Guyana Defense Force, et al. The President will delegate the following responsibilities to the Prime Minister: domestic national affairs and chairing the Cabinet, recommending ministerial appointments and providing the organizational structures of the ministries for the approval of the President, appointment of heads of agencies and non-constitutional commissions with required and agreed democratic mechanisms of consultation, domestic security, inclusive of home affairs. The parties further agree that cabinet positions will be allocated on a 60-40 basis between the Partnership for National Unity and the Alliance for Change, respectively. Both the representative of the list and the Speaker of the House will be mutually selected by both parties from independent members of civil society. This is a historic and watershed political development for our country, as this new electoral alliance moves to put Guyana on the correct path, where all Guyanese, regardless of ethnicity, can feel fully motivated to be proud of his or her nation and is afforded the opportunity to make a meaningful contribution to society while successfully caring for themselves and family. These discussions were not easy, and both parties have had to give up some of their demands and overcome decades of prejudice for us to have arrived at this most significant and momentous point of national renewal. The work has just begun, and we have no time to lose. Starting immediately, the General Secretaries of both parties, the Partnership for National Unity and the Alliance for Change will commence the process of combining our campaign teams into one unbeatable electoral machine to secure victory this country urgently demands of us. The leadership of both APNU and AFC pledge here today to lead our beloved country into a new dawn of national development, transparent governance, full accountability, and we invite all well-thinking Guyanese to join us in this important march as we give Guyana a second chance and to ensure that you are on the right side of history. You're ready to vote. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know the standard procedure. If you could identify yourself, the media organization you represent. Lady in front. Go ahead. The one that just asked the question.
Kian Oberg, good afternoon, Kaiser News. Mr. Rambutan, prior to this engagement here, you had said that the AFC would not enter into the alliance once you're not assured that you will be leading it. How do you plan to sell this idea now to your supporters, given what you said previously?
By simply saying that which we had as our maximal position during the process of the negotiations we could not obtain. But in view of the fact that there has been a tremendous climb as to the powers of the Prime Minister, we feel that it was an acceptable proposal, and that is why we signed on, and that is why I shifted. You know, I'm a lawyer. I started very high standards in relation to bargaining, and I knew that it was going to be a hard bargain. Indeed, it has turned out to be this as the best product in the right now. And indeed, I have been with my membership, supporters, financiers, and they have supported this to the extent of saying here, it is something that is very much acceptable, it is viable, and it is that vehicle which can bring the transparency and accountability we want for this country.
Sir?
Premier Bridger, in your opening statement, you mentioned the fact that you're representative of the list and the speaker chosen from civil society. I'm wondering how you plan to go about achieving that. If I could also ask on the issue of concessions that have to be given, could you say on the APN part what are some of the major concessions that you would have had to give up, and Mr. Rambutan some other concessions that you would have to give up, and campaign, financing the campaign? Could you say how the party propose to approach this? Is this also the 64 approach also?
Three good questions, Gary. First, both parties will search, we will invite nominations and recommendations, we will look at the list of candidates, we will design a list of criteria so that we can get citizens of quality, and at the end of it, we will have a short list, and we have agreed that there will be a consensual process by which both sides will agree on the speaker and the representative of the list. It will be a consensual process, and we expect that this is the best way forward for Guyana. So it wouldn't be a partisan representative, it would be somebody of national standing. Secondly, I don't want to go, I think it would be helpful, but as Mr. Rambutan said, both sides went to the bargaining table with certain expectations, and I don't believe that there is any virtue in breaking over the polls now to see who won and who lost. Guyana has won today, and that is important. This is the first time in the history of Guyana. This is the first time in the history of Guyana we will have a multi-party pre-election coalition that is committed to Article 13 of the Constitution, inclusionary democracy, and we're all committed to making this work. I think from everything that has been said around the country, from the Rukununi, Maruka, everywhere I've gone over the last 3 months, people want this coalition, and today it has happened. As far as finance is concerned, we have worked with the formula, which appears in the statement. We will have a combined campaign committee, finance committee, and the formula, as you've heard, is 60-40. And I'm convinced also that many donors were waiting for this thing to happen. They were not prepared to commit themselves to another one party, but what we did today has convinced them that the days of winner takes all politics are over, and they will be prepared to come forward. So I'm very satisfied that more donors will come forward now to support this coalition. People want it, it's going to be well financed, and we will win.
Dennis Chabot, Emerald.
Yes, Mr. Granger, could you say how you intend to deal with the question of the chairing of the cabinet by the Prime Minister in light of the constitutional requirement that that must be chaired by the President? And secondly, by way of clarification, the 60-40 in terms of the cabinet, which party is that in favor of? Is it APNU or AFC?
Well, the 60-40 formula has been applied in more than one case, but it will be in favor of APNU. Please bear in mind that APNU is already a 5-party partnership. And in terms of finance, APNU will make the greater contribution. In terms of the cabinet, APNU will make the greater contribution. But AFC is guaranteed certain positions in the cabinet already. And as far as chairing, this is not a problem. The president has not lost his powers. He will have the ability to chair cabinet sessions in accordance with the Constitution. But given this agreement, the Prime Minister will be allowed to, there are certain powers which have to be delegated. The Prime Minister does not have those powers under the Constitution, but the President can delegate those powers. And that is what we propose.
Shirley Johnson.
Gentlemen, when are you likely to launch your campaign? And when are we likely to hear who are these two candidates, presidential and prime ministerial candidates?
Well, let me answer that because I think we are looking at the presidential and prime ministerial candidates here. The presidential candidate will be Mr. Granger, and the prime ministerial candidate will be Mr. Nagamuji in this alliance arrangement.
Or
I beg your pardon?
they're automatically the candidates, or they'll be nominated for election?
Well, they will be.
Sir, we have protocol. You're not on the floor, please. Yeah.
Officially nominated basically from the alliance arrangement as of now. And it will have to be endorsed by that meeting. I don't know if you have such a rule.
Let me just clarify that. Nominated. Are there any other candidates, or he is the candidate, Mr. Granger is the candidate, Mr. Nagamuji? Who are the two candidates?
They are the two candidates.
Okay, and how soon do you intend to launch your campaign? And I'm seeing you going into elections, AFC with a P, APNU with a hand. When are you going to decide on your symbol?
Prior to 14th of February, APNU on its own had decided to launch on Friday the 20th. Given this agreement today, we are now prepared to review or to revisit that date, since that there will now be a joint election campaign, and it will be more appropriate to have a single campaign launch. So you will hear from us about that.
The symbol?
Yeah,
The possibility of a single symbol?
That will be just if the negotiators.
Right. Good afternoon, folks. The question of symbol, color.
Oh, sorry.
You need to move because all the cameras, all the cables are
Come here, sir.
The joint campaign team continues to meet. The questions of symbols, colors, and all the activities associated in preparing a single list is ongoing. We meet again tomorrow, and as soon as all the information we will hold another press conference very shortly.
Will be a good name for this alliance?
Mr. Chabot, if you don't mind.
What's the brief follow-up?
Sorry.
What's the brief follow-up?
Well, on whose question? Forgive me. Lady next to you.
But just in case anyone wants to ask, that is all alternatively considered as we speak.
Stubborn?
Yes. Marshall Cummingsburg. We see the comeback of the use of the vice president or vice presidents here. My question is, have you decided on who these people are? And in general, who are the persons who will be holding the top 7 constitutional spots?
Most, that has not been discussed, but most obviously the 7 most qualified persons from both from the alliance.
And the follow-up would be the reason for bringing back the vice president, bringing back vice presidency in the formula.
It is not a strange position. It is capable. Under the Constitution, they were vice presidents under the People's Progressive Party, and they were vice presidents under the People's National Congress. As I pointed out to you, the main purpose of this alliance today is to create a government of national unity. The people of this country must be able to look at the government, look at the cabinet, and see a reflection of persons who represent their interests. It's a question of representation. And the use of the vice presidency is to reinforce that principle of representation. Here today, for example, we have Mr. Sidney Aligok, who represents the Guyana Action Party. We have Mr. Takuma Ogunsei, who represents the Working People's Alliance. We have Mr. Basil Williams, who represents the People's National Congress. And we have other members who represent the Alliance for Change. So it's a multi-party democracy. So we have to look at the cabinet as a means of representing the complexity and variety of interests in this country. Not only coastal interests, not only party interests, but national interests. That is the reason for the reintroduction of vice presidency.
Dennis Roll?
Yes. Mr. Granger, could you give us a little more details about which party will give us some of the ministerial positions in the cabinet?
We do not have that information at present. We do know that the alliance will be looking to ensure that there is balance between APNU and AFC, but we have not determined which actual portfolios will be created in the new cabinet at this point in time.
Let me add, one of the processes which was mentioned in it, we have to look at the reorganization of our entire ministry. Therefore, the negotiations never about actual personnel or persons. It's a question of what's best for the country.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Mr. President, you pointed out earlier that the APNU, it was taken into consideration that APNU would get to 60 because of the other parties that weren't part of the APNU previously. In your negotiations, did you ensure that there is adequate space to ensure that if there is a poor democracy and somewhere, all these parties will be represented in the National Assembly? You have 4 other parties. Can you ensure that the WPA will get members of Parliament, Justice for All, and the other parties? And also, did these other parties have an individual voice in these negotiations through, of course, the main person, the main person?
APNU has been in Parliament as a partnership for over 3 years, and we have had representation from all 5 parties. And we intend to apply the same rules that we did in 2011 to what will occur in 2015. So there is no doubt we have partners, we have affiliates. Many of the affiliates will not be holding political office, but they are social partners. So there are 2 levels of membership or participation.
Okay, and on the voice part, did they have a specific voice in these negotiations?
Every partner in APNU was represented on the negotiating team. We had a 7-member team. At that time, the JFAP had not rejoined the partnership, The PNC was represented, the GAP was represented, the National Front Alliance was represented, and the WPA was represented. In addition to that, we had a team leader, Mr. Carl Greenwich, and the General Secretary of APNU was represented by he was Mr. Joseph Harmon, and we also had a nominee from the parliamentary group, Dr. George Moore.
Okay, I have a question, Mr. Granger. At the last election of APNU, the presidential candidate went to APNU, and the prime ministerial candidate went to WPA. Now the prime ministerial candidate is CFC. What is being offered to the WPA?
As I said, we have not actually negotiated positions, cabinet and other positions. We have various vice presidential positions, we have cabinet positions. We have not done that type of detailed negotiation at this point.
But the WPA will still have a major voice in the...
All partners will have a voice.
Let me come in because the WPA, as we mentioned,
The microphone, please.
Okay, the WPA has been associated with these discussions from the very beginning. We were being represented by Dr. Rupert Narayan, and he had to leave the parliament team to observe the elections in Nigeria, and I replaced him immediately after. And I could assure you the country as WPA had full participation in the process, and we are satisfied that we made the necessary compromise in the interest of the country. And the WPA is not too over-concerned with the party fortunes of the party. We are concerned with the fortunes of the country.
Any one of you gentlemen. Yes. I hate to be the killjoy. I know this is on a positive note, but my question is, Mr. Granger, you would have said in politics, you expect the unexpected. If you go to this election and you lose, I want to know what plans you would have had in place if you would go back to your APNU and AFC, or if the coalition remains. And my question, again, to both sides. I've heard that there are talks with some members, I don't know if it's backward talk or what talk, of the PPP to have them involved in this coalition. Is that true? And if you can shed some light on those thoughts.
We have not contemplated the possibilities of defeat. There is a tide, if you go through this country from region 1 to region 9, right across to region 6, people want this thing badly. People want a coalition. They do not want 5 more years of people to get a party administration. They want this thing. And we are very, very confident that we are going to win on the 11th of May 2015. As far as PPP is concerned, we have walked away today. We have closed the door and winner takes all politics. That is one of the most important and most significant, I would say, events or aspects or characteristics of what we have done today. Winner takes all politics is finished in Guyana. And what we have done, and what we are saying to you now, what I am saying to you, is that if a party, if a partnership, if this alliance brings 52% of the votes, you're not going to knock out 48% of the people. That is my promise to you. So that is the problem that has brought us, or that is the situation that brought us where we are today. A party that won 48% of the vote want to deny the voice of 58% of the people. We are not going to make that mistake. Yes, it sounds hard, but we are going to invite every section of the community, every political organization to be part of what Article 13 calls for inclusionary democracy.
Ranger,
Yes,
just for
including
clarity,
PDP.
no, for clarity, is it safe to say then that so confident are both of you that you will win, that neither of you have made provisions for a loss?
Mr. Secretary, this is the right. We are not here to lose. This is the winning team. We are looking at part of the winning team.
Exactly.
The realm of defeat. But what I can say is this, that our door is fully open. But sometimes you open the door for fresh air and you get a few mosquitoes in. So when we say the door is open, we are saying also that there is nothing that we will do to include due process. As you could observe yesterday, the Chief Justice acted has given a ruling on a motion that was tabled by the leader of the opposition, brought to the court by the leader of the opposition with regards to the illegal spending of $4.5 billion. And I had said even before that ruling on last Thursday that no sensible leadership of a new government would want to include the national scene inside. So while the door is open, we have to also alert that this is not about vengeance, this is not about vendetta, but we are not going to interfere with due process, and we're going to look for people who can actually bring to the table integrity, honesty, and values of good governance and accountability. That is how I believe we're going to move this process forward under a new dispensation.
Sir,
HDP 19 News. What provisions have been put in place for the regional component of the elections?
I would like David, the other David, to answer that, please. Please, Harman.
I'll allow my newcomer. Seem to be hogging me.
Yes, thank you very much for being so graceful. The regional component of the elections will be addressed in the same manner that we're going to be addressing the issues at the national level. A number of things, as you will recognize, will have to be fine-tuned. A number of things will have to be worked out. And in this regard, I think both the leader of the opposition, the leader of the APNU and the secretary of the AFC have actually said that the General Secretaries will be meeting starting immediately. In fact, we'll be meeting him before now. And that the details, because usually the devil is usually in the details. And these are the things that we will be working on assiduously after this afternoon, after this press conference. We're going to work on those issues to ensure that we can deliver a campaign structure, a campaign organization, and the excitement in a campaign that will capture the energies of the Guyanese people to ensure that on May 11th, what we'll have announcing on May the 12th will be a landslide victory. That's it.
Mr. Agbutu, why I ask the question? Mr. Agbutu, how do you intend to deal with views out there during the campaign trail by the PDP that you're a traitor, in their words, you're an evil Quran, and you're power drug? How do you intend to address those on the campaign?
Do you see me being...
No, I'm asking you the question.
Do you see me look like Paul Trump, who was just conceded to the gentleman on my right being the presidential candidate? I was endorsed and conceded that there is nothing in politics that precludes one from holding any position. If he had an opportunity to make the presidential candidate and they would have won the election, we would not have been here after I would have tabled a motion of no confidence. We would not have been here discussing a new election. But they could say what they wanted to say. And of course, I would not be bothered by the negatives of the PDP, because a dying, decaying regime would in fact become a little more aggressive and dangerous as it becomes moribund. And it's like a cow going to the slaughterhouse. They will mess on themselves, so I will ignore them.
Any other questions? Folks, sorry, go ahead.
They didn't answer the question of if talks are ongoing with the PPP currently. Backdoor, indoor, outdoor.
Well, there have been a number of persons who've been trying to get my attention, and I suspect the attention of other members of the Alliance for Change. I can't speak for the APNU. But we have said that in our father's mansion, there were two doors. And we have opened the doors, I said. And there are some elements who have been talking to us. Some have had others as emissaries to talk to us. Some have some have specific interests. Others have other interests. Some, I hope you're not going to take away our job. So we are showing that there will be no discrimination, no recrimination, no vendetta. No one has anything to fear, no one has anything to lose. If you're honest and if you have conducted yourself within the law. There are others who have other interests. Whether they could be accommodated, and we're saying yes, look at how you campaign for us in the grassroots, and we will assess where your true interest lies. We have not formalized anything with anyone, and I'm not going to deal with names, but we have had conformal ministers, the people who have taken, well, I would need to say that, former stalwarts of the PPP, they have all indicated that they would like to come on board. Now that we have this national alliance, I believe it will add new energy and new impetus to their interests. And we are hoping as the campaign kicks off that you will have some surprises on the platform.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. On the evening of Valentine's Day in the Cummingsburg.
I just wanted to express our gratitude to the persons who worked up to 2 and 3 o'clock in the mornings to bring this agreement to the present state. I will speak for APNU and I will ask my colleague to speak for AAFC. I would like first of all to pay tribute to our team leader, Mr. Carl Greenwich, who is also the chief negotiator on our side. Mr. Joseph Harmon, who is the General Secretary of Partnership for National Unity. Dr. George Norton, who is not here. I should have been with him, no one guarded him. Mr. Basil Williams, the representative of the PNC. Mr. Nakuma Ogensei, representative of the Working People's Alliance. Mr. Sidney Alikop, representative of the Guyana Action Party. Mr. Keith Scott, representative of the National Front Alliance. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the young people. Only 2 nights ago, I was having a meeting with young people at my office, maybe about 30 of them, and Mr. Greenwich well, he didn't interrupt, he came to bring some information, and when I told the young people that it was about the coalition talks, and we felt that the talks were going to be successful, they all shared. But the young people are fully in support of this move. Those in APNU have formed groups, and I'd like to register my gratitude to them. They've started a movement for national unity, and I'd like to thank them and the other people who are involved in this negotiation. There are other people who I don't know if they want to be mentioned, but I will allow my colleague from the Alliance for Change to.
I just want to thank the team from the Alliance for Change who have conducted these negotiations. As you have been told before, that it has been a very protracted and very purposeful negotiations. In fact, we didn't feel we could have come this far without their efforts and without their own input into quality of negotiation. I want to thank David Patterson, our General Secretary, who was led over to David. We have Dominique Gaskin, our Treasurer, Rajendra Visesar. Those were the three front line negotiators for us, and they have done a wonderful, commendable job. I want to thank also Nigel Youth, our party chairman, the outgoing former speaker, member of the leadership of the party, Private Hoffman, member of the executive, Kathy Hughes, and the others who have stood with us in the frequent consultation in between of talks and all hours of the night. We were encouraged by their dedication to this task. I want to say, I have not said before, that I wish, I see the agreement is called the Cummingsburg Agreement. I wish it was named Valentine's Day. I think today is a wonderful day of love, of unity, a show of harmony, and the potential for cohesion and national unity. I believe today is a genuine new beginning in our history. We have searched for 60 years to bring about a genuine alliance that will be not only multi-party, multi-ethnic, but multi-class and multi-gender. And I'm hoping, as when we win the elections, and I assume the portfolio of the Prime Minister, I'm hoping also that when you take the two components from the APNU and AFC, that you will have a government that will not only be representative of all the people, but genders, races, and callings, professions alike. So that this ought to be a new beginning, a new day for Guyana, and we don't expect that everything will go according to expectations. But I know for now, and I can say this to you, we have a dream, and we hope that the little boy we were, David and I, and Wim, you may not know, we attended primary school together, the offline smart school. Today is also a day of reunion, and that is why I'm optimistic. The tree that was planted in a ball field in Wim, but actually that dream could be realized, that we could both sit here, coming out of a village environment, and we could both hold out to you that we thought that one day Guyana deserved better, and Guyana deserved the support I believe we have now received from this alliance. I believe this is what we need. This is the tonic that we need to take Guyana forward. So thank you also members of the press for having kept this issue on the front burner, and we hope the fire of expectation and victory will burn bright.